studio. Actually, I thought I'd do more of like a comfortable vibe here tonight. So I'm actually in the kitchen right now. Does that sound better or does this sound better? Probably this sounds better. So I'm in the kitchen tonight. It's been a crazy week. I've actually got a lot accomplished this week as far as ideas for what I'm trying to aim to do with the show, because if you guys have been paying attention here on Pure Evil MMA, and obviously if you're new, make sure you guys subscribe down below here on YouTube, iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher. That's right, we're back. I mean, we're now on Stitcher and Spotify. That's what I was aiming for. We are on Spotify now. So one thing I really enjoy about Spotify, you can listen to your favorite music artists, and shout out to Trippie Redd, who just dropped his new single today. That's what I've been bumping for the past 24 hours since it dropped. So shout out to Trippie Redd, that's my dude. Obviously, guys, you're probably asking, if you're watching the video cast, what the fuck is on my face? I am getting ready for a Halloween wedding. That's right. This is like a dream wedding, too. I'm really excited for it. It's my cousin's wedding. I'm going to be in New York Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So for those of you guys here on the YouTube channel, you got a lot to look forward to with the new vlogs. I have been doing vlogs. I just did one for Bellator 207. I did one for the weigh-ins for Bellator 207. I did one for Ammo Fight League, and let me tell you guys, I literally, this might sound super fucking soft, but it struck a fucking chord in me when I was done and I watched it play back and I pressed publish. I was like, damn, this is probably my favorite thing I've ever edited. It opened my eyes and it broke down a lot of barriers to, because like one thing about me is like I really hate, I don't hate it, but like I did my first interview at 7 years old, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So ever since then, I've loved combat sports, I've loved wrestling, and I've also been a huge fiend for broadcasting and different styles and stuff like that. And getting into the news later, Jon Anik re-signed with the UFC. We are going to be reviewing this week in MMA, so let me not get distracted too much. But let me just say, guys, like I'm really proud of what I've just released. So go check it out on the vlogs down below here on the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Podbean, or whatever, hop over to the YouTube channel. We actually got like 100 new subscribers this month. I'm really trying to make things pop off on there. So it would mean a lot if you guys go over. And even if you comment down on one of the videos like, hey, Eddie, I'm coming over from the podcast, because it's so crazy. Only 20% of our audience that listens to the podcast is actually over on YouTube for some reason, which I understand. Like people like the audio, they go to the gym, they go for hikes or whatever, they like listening to podcasts. But guys, I'm telling you, I'm onto some new shit, something that no one else out there in the scene is doing. Like I was saying, if there's one thing I hate about the scene, it's that everyone's a fucking cookie cutter in this journalism scene. And it makes me so mad, because I'm not like that. I'm not them. So when I go to shows and stuff, I'm like, what the fuck's up with that kid? Like, I'm not like you. I'm not a cookie cutter journalist. I'm here. I'm going to be doing my pure reaction. That's why it's called Pure Evil MMA. I'm not a bad person. I might look like a little fucking like the goth boy clique. But honestly, Pure Evil stands for Pure Eddie Villecco, which is my name. Eddie Villecco. E as in evil. V-I-L Villecco. So Pure Evil MMA. I'm giving you guys my pure reactions to the vlogs that I'm doing. When I report news, you're getting the absolute pureness. And I don't even listen to other podcasts until I'm done recording. So my thoughts don't get mixed in all this other shit. There's a lot of great guys out there that are doing some big things, but I'm just not like them. I finally found what separates me. So go check out the vlogs that we're releasing, and I will be in New York Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're going to have a lot of fun there. If you want to catch out some behind the scenes of what I do here in my real life, get some insight on what goes down here inside the Pure Evil MMA reality. All right, so today, it's a quick preview, guys. So before I even start this segment off, I just don't want anybody to get confused between Jon Anik and Goldberg. Goldberg left the UFC abruptly. There was no goodbye ceremony. It was literally like right after an event, and people were very upset about it. We saw Goldie in the crowd like a week later, and then he went off to Bellator, and that is not what I'm reporting here. Jon Anik just re-signed a 4-year deal, but I do wish Goldberg would come back to the UFC, because just like Jon Anik, he's a big part of the machine that is the UFC. So I just wanted to put that note out there before we get in the podcast. Make sure there's no confusion. All right, let's get back into it. Mercy's going to be calling in, hopefully not in 2 minutes. Let me text her and tell her not to call in 2 minutes. Let me do the intro first so you guys know what's been going down this week inside the scene of mixed martial arts. First thing I want to say, holy shit, Jon Anik back in business with the UFC. I, amongst a lot of other people out there, were very upset when John Anik randomly, like all of a sudden, abruptly left the UFC. It was like overnight. They didn't even announce it. They didn't do a tribute to him. This is a guy that's been, let me see, he's been with the UFC since, I believe, the season of Ultimate Fighter with Uriah Faber. Correct me if I'm wrong. The first time I ever heard of him, Uriah Faber versus Dominic Cruz. They tried doing it live, and they brought over John Anik. I'm not sure where John Anik was coming over from. Let me tell her to call in 10 minutes. Okay, call in 10 minutes. For those of you guys listening to the podcast, this is what you expect on live shows. We might even have some guest surprise fighters calling in. Janae Harding, who I've been in talks with, she was supposed to call in a little while ago. That's why I'm kind of going late a little later, but she's back in Australia. And she's had a long-ass week. So when she does call in eventually, either tonight or tomorrow morning, she's going to tell us the story about how she beat Conor McGregor's teammate, Sinead Kavanaugh, which is, I was right there. I was ringside for it. Mallory Martin was in her corner. You guys might know her from Invicta FC, making a huge name for herself. Matter of fact, I tweeted out this week. Let me know if you guys agree with this. Since the UFC has come out with Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. I'm going to jump back to John Anik. But since they came back in with, or started Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, I feel like there's a heightened interest for regional fighters or, fighters in Invicta FC, Titan FC, even your local scenes like Ammo Fight League. Let me tell you, that place was fucking packed. And I did get some feedback from a couple of people out there, a couple of Pure Evil MMA supporters that would like me not to swear as much. So I'm going to really try to cut back on that. I know what that's like. Listen to a podcast and you're in the car with your family member and you hear this come over the I'm already about to slip up. Coming over the speakers, and I know it's not that attractive. So I'm going to try to make this a good experience. But goddamn, John Anik back into the UFC. He signs a 4-year deal, which is huge because there was a huge absence there. Without John Anik going, just like that. For the big fans that especially play the UFC video game, you want that same experience. If you guys have ever played the video game, they nail it. Like all the little things that add up to make it feel like a big thing, John Anik is part of that machine. And without him, it did not feel the same. Give me a thumbs up if you agree with that, because he left. They tried bringing in apparently Dana White's dream commentator, which we never found out who it was. Why do I still have my charger around my neck? But we never found out who his dream commentator was, and it never came into fruition. A lot of people were backlashing at the people they did bring in. And we even saw, what's his name, leave. The greatest American, Brian Stant. He left because I think a big part of why he left was the way that the scene was reacting to how UFC treated John Anik. But in the backlash of that, people really attacked, I'm not going to throw his name under the bus, but they attacked the new guy who, it's a new venture for him. It's hard to get your foot in the door. But also, like, Big John McCarthy, I have to put this out there after being at Bellator. It's been a couple of months that we've been able to digest. You'd think it'd be enough time for Big John McCarthy to kind of get comfortable in there. I just don't think it's his thing, man. Like, I feel like he's he's another part of that machine, right? Like, when you tune into a UFC fight, you want to see Big John McCarthy inside the octagon, splitting fighters up. He's been there since day one, back in, 1993. He's a part of that machine. I would love for him to come back and ref. I understand that he's been doing it for so long. He wants new ventures. But for Bellator, if I'm Scott Coker, I've personally seen a lot of people on Twitter. I keep my ear to the tracks of Twitter in the MMA scene. And I've seen a lot of people out there. We all love Big John. Don't get me wrong. Don't get anyone else that says any of that. Don't take them the wrong way, because we all like Big John McCarthy. He is such a huge part of the MMA scene, period. I mean, it's nice seeing other people come up like Brian Miner and or the other referees, Bobby Wambacher. Shout out to Bobby Wambacher. I want to get him on the show. He did a couple of great podcasts with me, but the last one especially gave some new insight on the mindset of referees. So it was kind of nice that Big John kind of, gave a little breathing room to some of the other guys to make their name, especially Dan Murgliata, who, every show I go to, Big Dan's there. Sometimes his family's sitting behind me. Every time, I don't know if it's his wife or whatever, but she always makes fun of my shoes because she calls them clown shoes. And you guys can see this in the vlogs, episode 2. the vlog episode 2 where I was at Lion Fight, Dan Mergliata is actually in the vlog. He walks in front of the fighters. I'm like, Dan, move! And he's like, whoop, 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 and walks away. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm totally joking, man. You're taking me the wrong. It's actually on my Instagram if you guys scroll down, but go check it out on the YouTube channel. It's so funny. Backstage, he's always goofing off and talking with us, but he does such a great job. I think it's very hard in the scene because if you make one false move, even, I don't want to throw names under the bus, but some of the bigger names in the reffing scene, you know, they have one bad night and people don't forget about it for a long time. If you're watching the video cast, you're gonna love what I just did. But I don't know. Big ups to John Anik coming back to the UFC. I'm glad that the UFC realized that he was such a big piece of it, and it's gonna be nice to see him back in there. Who doesn't fucking love? And I'm gonna put this in the edited clip. But who doesn't like to hear this? Just like that. I mean, his reactions are so pure. Him and Rogan are the best together. Let's fucking. All right. Every time I do this, you guys can give me a thumbs down. Every time no, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm just gonna try to be a little bit more careful. To my gospel lovers out there, shout out to my gospel lovers. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Other big news this week, guys. Eddie Alvarez signs to ONE FC. Is this his walk into the sunset? That's kind of what I picked up here. I mean, he had such a great career at Bellator, the underground king, right? I mean, he was the guy that was putting on these amazing fights, but not that many people were tuning in to see. But the diehards knew everything about Eddie Alvarez. When he came into the UFC, a lot of people critiqued his style of reaching the gold, which was, you know, do what got you to the dance, man. You're in the UFC. Use what got you to the dance. We saw the fight with Showtime Pettis. He just utilized his wrestling skills, tied him up. We've seen other people follow that blueprint. Not saying that it's an easy blueprint to follow, but Eddie Alvarez, man, did exactly what it took, and that's why I got scared against the Conor McGregor fight. But once he had UFC gold at lightweight, and they had that press conference for UFC 205, he was never the same after that. Eddie Alvarez never returned the same until the Justin Gaethje fight. They did the season Ultimate Fighter. It literally brought the best out in Eddie Alvarez. It brought the smart brawler out. That's what it was. And we saw this during that season of the Ultimate Fighter when they did the Coaches Challenge. They had a swimming competition. Justin Gaethje, just like when he fights, he goes in there, he goes hard. But if you stay in there and you pressure him, he's going to fade. He's eventually going to fade, which isn't necessarily the case. I love Justin Gaethje. I interviewed Justin Gaethje before he was in the UFC to talk about bigger promotions. And you guys heard me talk about it on the podcast before. It was my Facebook profile picture for a long time, actually. But let me get back to what I'm saying here. Eddie Alvarez, in that season, and then in the finale, made us feel like, holy shit, that's the Eddie Alvarez we've wanted to see since he signed to the UFC. Thumbs up if you agree to that. Thumbs up if you agree to that, because that was an opening point. So, did ONE FC see that and offer him a shit ton of money? Most likely. You heard a lot of journalists out there talking about, ONE FC. They're not really marketing to the U.S. fans. I mean, you can watch the stream. We can all watch the streams, but bringing over somebody like Eddie Alvarez is going to be huge. So, is this his walk into the sunset, or is he going to be the face of one, which most likely is the case. But for me personally, I feel like this is his walk into the sunset. He most likely got paid a lot of money to go. And to round this all full circle, when I did the interview with Justin Gaethje before he was in the UFC, he says, what's moving up in MMA? Because I was asking him, I was like, all these promotions out there are asking you, they got their eye on you. Are you thinking about moving up? And he looks at me, this is exactly what he says. He goes, well, what's moving up in MMA? Moving up is a paycheck, and World Series of Fighting pays me a lot. And I believe Justin Gaethje at the time was getting paid like $150K a year, which is bank at our age. You know what I mean? Especially as a fighter. I don't know how much he's making now. Obviously, he's getting fight of the night bonuses. That $50K extra definitely helps. But I would like to see UFC bring back in sponsors. Let UFC have Reebok give them 2 sponsors on their shorts. That will help the fighters a lot, because now you're going to see a lot of guys leave because they're not getting the money they could. Eddie Alvarez most likely left because here's how it works. For you guys out there that don't know how it works. When a UFC fighter's contract is up, other companies can make bids, but the UFC has the right to counter the bid. So say, for instance, ONE FC offers Eddie Alvarez a $100 million signing bonus. The UFC sees that, and then, whatever 50 and 50, whatever it is that, you know, is normal for these fighters. And Freddie Alvarez, man, I can only guess. ONE FC, how many tickets they sell and the shows that they put on is phenomenal. The production is great. I would like to see them target more fans, but it really feels like the UFC, and it's kind of crazy. It feels like the UFC has really thinned out over the past, I'd say about 2 years now, which kind of levels the playing field out for Bellator or, you know, some of these smaller organizations like ONE FC. I'm not saying ONE FC is small, but some of these other organizations that you see these fighters signing to, Risen and whatnot. I do enjoy seeing that. But at the same time, well, you know what? It actually helps the UFC out, because we were also complaining at one point, like, there's so many people inside the UFC. They have so many people they can concentrate on promoting and marketing and making into a big star. But there's just so many people asking for it. It's like, who do you pick? You're only as good as your last two fights. Whatever the reasoning is. Now with that spreading out, with Roy McDonald leaving, Gegard Mousasi leaving, Eddie Alvarez leaving, this list is going on and on. I think it is only going to help. But as for Eddie Alvarez in this case, it does feel like a little bit of a walk in the sunset. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. And on Twitter at evil_echo, that's EVIL_ECCO. And also on Instagram at PureEvilMMA_. Let me see if Mercy's ready to call in. If not, let me say a fight that just got announced for you people out there in Adelaide. Let me tell her to call in. Duffy versus Ross Pearson. Now, Ross Pearson, he's been hot and cold, but lately he's been back on the broomstick, man. And Duffy is also trying to stay in the UFC. I mean, he had a huge come up when he was coming over. He was the one guy that beat Conor McGregor, let's not forget, years ago. Beat him by submission. Came to the UFC. They tried to match him up. He fought, I think, what was it? Dustin the Diamond. Ever since then, he wasn't the same. So this is a huge fight, very exciting fight, because both these guys need the win. They both have their back up against the wall. Here is Mercy. I love this noise too. Mercy, 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 have mercy.
I don't got no voice, y'all. What's going on?
Oh, damn. All right, so let me just tell these guys what they're hearing. So Mercy was just at the Bare Knuckle BKFC 3. Saw a bunch of fighters go in there, throw down. The best highlight, I have to say, by far, is our girl Misfit. We're going to be talking about that, but God, Jesus, Miss Mercy, I almost called you Misty.
You keep calling me.
No, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
I'm a sad Christine to come kiss you with them baby hands.
But listen, this week was such a big week for Misfit, which you kind of connect me with Misfit in the first place. What was it like when you first got there? Before she fought, what was the vibe like? Because I can tell from the pictures and stuff that she was just scouting out her target. Like, she was so
she
right
like
on.
A shark is first of all. Let's start right there. Like, it was kind of weird because it wasn't just me and her this time, because she's got like a new training squad, right? Like, so she's training with I'm talking about the real deal Holyfield. Now we talking about Dewey Cooper.
Yeah, and I've met Dewey Cooper before. He's the dude. He's helped a lot of fighters out.
I didn't know if I was supposed to say hello, if I was supposed to bow down. Like, Dewey? I mean, sorry, fam.
Shout out to his hair, too. He's got some of the best hair.
If you trained one day in Muay Thai or kickboxing, everybody knows who the hell Dewey Cooper is. He's just that kind of guy.
I met him with Matt Mitrione. I think it was beginning of the year. He was helping corner Matt Mitrione in the fight that he had against Roy Nelson, as a matter of fact. He's a really nice guy.
Exactly. Like, Dewey is the man. Like, you walk in his presence, you're like, oh, it's Dewey.
So you're a little starstruck. I mean, that's a rare thing, because you talk to a lot of female fighters out there. You know, you talk with Chris Cyborg, and, you know, not to name drop, but it's going to be really difficult for someone like you or me to be starstruck. And
I'm not starstruck, but Dewey, like, come on.
Much respect. A lot of respect.
Short of like my own coaches and whatnot, like, Dewey is like the man. Like,
so what was he like? What was he like when you first met him?
I didn't think I was gonna be. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be cool. Got this. Yeah, I saw him and I was like, oh my God, it's Dewey.
So Mercy, were you there?
So
You were there.
A starstruck moment.
You
Won't
were.
lie.
You were there.
Totally starstruck by Dewey.
You were there right before the weigh-ins, correct? That's when you got there? That's when you arrived?
No, I got there after because
Okay.
I have a bunch of stuff going on in my house because I'm selling my house.
Okay.
And so I had to push back a day. And so I was all upset because I had to come like after weigh-ins. So I didn't get there till the morning of the fight. So I didn't see them until right before.
So bring us through it.
Actually.
Walk us through this. Walk us through this, Mercy. You arrive there, and what happens? When exactly do you meet Misfit, and what's the vibe that you pick up that she has?
I mean, I see Misfit like pretty much whenever, because that's my like real friend. Like we're not talking about somebody that like I'm a fan, but like I'm her friend.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you obviously went up to her room and stuff,
if I come
right?
in town, like I'm in town, and
You went up
I
to
can
her
hook
room?
up with her. But that's the difference. Like you have to kind of know, like these fighters, like when they're in their zone, they're in their zone. Like you kind of,
100%.
if you're gonna be a friend of a fighter, you kind of gotta be able to
Step back.
give them their space and like
These are the crucial hours right
let
here.
them do what they do, you know, before fights. Like,
That's. I'm really happy that you. I'm really happy that you brought that up.
I was playing poker and living my best life and eating tripping grits and all kind of stuff like before I found her, because I got in early. I got in at like 8:15, so I wasn't gonna wake her up or nothing like that at 8:15. But she did come down probably like at like 11:30 or so. Her wife was with her. Like, it was cool. Like we all met up, and that's how Fit TV got that picture of us that they tweeted out, because we took a picture at breakfast saying, "Hey, this is a picture of the war before the war." You know, so it was cool. It was cool.
So
like,
when you got there, who did you go with? It was just you. You show up alone.
Oh yeah,
I like doing that too. Yeah.
Wait, hold on, bro. I'm Mercy. I'm never alone. Like, what do you mean?
Wait, you went alone though, right? You went alone to meet people, right? Like when I go out.
Yo, you are gonna crack up just because I'm a Marine vet.
Oh, I never knew that.
I go sit down at the bar.
Mercy, hold on. I never knew that. Thank you for your service.
Navy guys there because there's a base in Biloxi. There's a naval base in Biloxi. So I wasn't alone. Like, I was kicking it. I was living my best life. They was like, "Oh, you're a Marine?" I can't like deny it. It's tattooed like all over me. There's no saying no, I'm not. So they start talking to me, and that's just kind of way like military life is. Like, we look out for each other. So they were like, "You good? What's going on?" Blah, blah, blah. You know, so we talked for a few hours, and it was a whole lot of us. They came to the fight and everything. Like, shout out to AJ, heavyweight champ, for giving them free tickets. Thanks.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, like I'm Mercy.
Really quick,
I talk
Mercy.
to everybody.
Mercy.
If you're a fan, I'm talking. I'm talking. I'm recruiting you. You come into the fight.
Mercy.
And if I get you some free tickets, I'm gonna get you some free tickets too. Let me do that too.
So you just brought up AJ.
So that's how it happened.
You just brought up AJ. What's your relationship with him? And you're trying to actually connect him to the show for our audience to actually get to know him a little bit better.
I am. He's on a different time zone than all of us, so I don't know if he's gonna do it today or tomorrow.
No, it doesn't matter. But
he's definitely gonna hook up. Because he's trying to link up, and so he can meet all you guys. That day is cool. I'm talking about he is cool. He's the one that does the Ric Flair reenactment at the end of all his fights. He always goes woo when he does the dance.
Is that why your voice is gone? Were you wooing all night?
Yeah, like it was so funny. We were like, we're gonna have to fight our way out of here because he is about to do this Ric Flair dance, and Sam Shoemaker, he's cool too.
A big dude too.
Don't get me wrong, but he comes from a town. I want to say one of his people from his town, I thought it was 144 people. One of the people from his town said I was wrong. It was 102 people that live in his town, and all of them basically were at the fight.
Yeah, I bet. A small town like that.
Like, they rode deep.
It's probably mostly families, too. Like, man, I grew up in the city, so that would be...
I have no idea, but I know they rode out. Like, I was the lone person in there screaming for AJ. And I'm like, whoa! And Christine's coaches, Dewey was like laughing, because he was like, okay, I got your back. Because I kept asking Mom, now, when he wins, what am I supposed to do? But here's what I tell you. Bare Knuckle, the crowd there, they're a lot of fun. A lot of kids there. You could bring your kids. They've got like a kid friendly atmosphere.
Isn't that
food,
crazy?
Because all of that. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like, even though I'm clowning about what was gonna happen to me, I'm just joking. Actually, it's very family friendly, and it was a whole lot of families there.
Isn't that crazy, too? Because, like, back in the day, a lot of families would go to baseball games, basketball games. It's almost 2020, people, and you're seeing people go to these... It's not even extreme sports anymore. It's actually getting more popular and popular every single year, and I love seeing that. Every time I go to a local show here, families showing up with their daughters and sons and stuff like that. I love that. I love that change.
And I think people think it's more violent than they realize. It's really not, because it's bare knuckle. Whatever's gonna happen happens fast. You know what I mean? Like, there is no like playing around with it. You can't like go run in the corner. And I realized that the ring, the way it's designed, is a whole lot smaller. So when they say toe to line, there is nowhere for you to run. Like, once you're in that ring, like, you're in that ring. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You better be there to fight, because where you going? There is nowhere to run to. You can't, like, just dip and dodge and, like, go from one that's not possible, because it's not big enough to do that.
So let's jump right into the meat and potatoes of things here. Obviously, the biggest highlight of the night, in my opinion, was easily our girl Mystic. Easily. And now, if you've been listening to Pure Evil MMA, guys, you've heard her come on here before. We've talked about what she needs to do to get to that title match against Beck Rawlings. Does this put her in place?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell the world, I'm going to tell Dave Feldman, I'm going to tell Nate Shook, the matchmaker, Dave Feldman, promoter. I'm telling all of bare knuckle. I'm putting everybody on notice. Christine don't need to do nothing. That show that she just put on at BKFC 3.
And she put on the show that she literally put on.
BKFC 3. I was at the other shows. Beck never once got a reaction the way Christine got that reaction. Give us that fight. Them fans want Christine to fight. Put it on. Bring it to Biloxi. Bring it to Wyoming. Bring it to Cancun. I don't care where you bring it to. Give us that fight. Send the contracts. Send the contracts. Let's see who signed. Let's see who signed. Bring it.
You know what? Like, honestly, who else out there could she fight next? There's no name.
I don't care who else is out there.
I can't think of a name.
Who else she wants to talk about.
That's if you are the.
Mad props.
If you.
And this is in all honesty, I give mad props to Christine's opponent. Her opponent.
Oh yeah, well, she's a veteran.
What's her name?
Jennifer Tate.
She's dope. I mean,
she got a. You say
Christine just made her look like an amateur. However, Jennifer Tate is not no walkover. She fought.
Tate looked good in the early of the round. You got to say that. Everyone. She's a vet. It's been a little while, but she's a huge name, and I'll let you explain from there.
She fought Nakamoto. She's fought the big names.
Yeah.
She's fought them. Christine just got the skills. Didn't nobody know my girl had all them hand skills. Like I told you she was bringing that fire. She went 13.
Can we rewind really quick, Mercy?
As an amateur with Lion Fight. How can you deny that? Her first pro fight with Lion Fight, she won. Christine is a stand-up fighter without question. That's what she does. She bringing that fire. She is about to whoop that ass. And Beck, let me just go ahead and find you a new mattress because you're going to sleep. It's just that simple. She going to sleep.
I'm telling you.
Just bring the fight.
Once I posted.
Contract, bring the fight.
Once I posted.
Bare Knuckle, Dave Feldman, Nate Shook, send the contract. That's what I'm saying. Send it.
Once
It's that simple. Christine ready today. I would put my money on Christine today. She just fought on Saturday. I would put my money on Christine today without even a training camp. She whooped Beck today. Today. She put her to sleep first round. Today.
Let me take this for a second here. If I am the BKFC, you got all these upcoming fighters there. Right now, when I posted that tweet of the highlight from that fight, my Twitter page went insane. The Misfits page went insane. I think she's at like over 10,000 followers. I think she's at like 12,000 followers now. If you are the BKFC, you see that and go, wow, this is great promotion. And you know how they didn't give her the microphone at the end of the fight? Misfit went right ahead, made a video, calling Beck out.
I was trying to avoid answering this question because I really do like BKFC. Okay?
Yeah. What's not to
I
like?
do know that they wanted her to have a mic. That much I can tell you. They wanted her to have a mic. However, I know that there are other outside issues that keep Christine from getting opportunities, and I won't go into that because we're not going to have that conversation because that's a whole nother show. And we can have that conversation on another day. But we still dealing with what do people look like
People want to
as
hear
if
the
it's
tea
a
now.
beauty contest versus this is effing
Spill
bare
the tea,
knuckle
Mercy.
fighting. Like, are you
Spill the
kidding?
tea.
Like, this the real deal. Like, it don't get no more real than bare knuckle, right? Like, this ain't a beauty. Who is trying to be pretty in bare knuckle? Like, how you gonna be pretty bare knuckle fight? Like, don't nobody care about that. We want to see knockouts.
Wait,
That's
are
what
there
you come
people
to
out
see.
there that are saying, like, you know, she doesn't deserve it for whatever reason, personal choices outside of fighting?
No. Christine deserved the mic. That's what she deserved.
Oh, that's what
She
you're talking
didn't
about. You're
get
just
the
talking
mic.
about the microphone. You're not talking about her getting the title shot. Like, what would be holding her back from a title shot? Nothing.
There's no reason
No.
except for her back is scared. Is scared and running. And right now, you know, she's the, you know, quote unquote, media queen of bare knuckle. Christine is the true queen of bare knuckle fighting. And the true queen, when the true queen meets up with the media queen, we all have already seen how that works out. It's a true embarrassment. And that's exactly what it'd be. Christine is going to put Beck on her back.
You're on
Flat
Twitter.
out.
What are people saying to
Without
that video
question.
that she posted?
What'd you say?
You saw the video that she posted? You're not on Instagram, right? You're just on Twitter.
No, I don't do Instagram.
Yeah.
That takes up too much of my
Did
life.
she
and
post
I
a
don't have
call
time
out
to do that.
on her Twitter page? Because I did see it on her Instagram page. Did she make one on her Twitter for Beck? Calling Beck out?
Oh, yeah, I saw Christine. Oh, I see everything Christine does.
So
yeah,
what-
I saw her calling her out.
What are the responses that we're
Beck.
seeing there?
Yeah.
No, let me try to find it.
You know, Christine is quiet, and that's good. Because she got a big mouth like me. What she got to talk for, right? Like, she got her flavor flav, right? Like, Christine don't have to talk. I do all the talking. Christine just fights. You know what I mean? Like, when it all comes down to it, she just gonna fight. And you can say what you want to say, right? Tweet, do whatever you want to say. But when it comes down to it, like, Christine, you believe you me, like, that is my girl. That is my home girl. Like, if it come down to it, everything I say, I can back up. I can back that up. I'm not just randomly talking about Christine. When I talk about Christine, I'm talking about Christine. She got that. Believe that. I told y'all that. before this fight, I told you she was bringing that fire. I told you she was bringing that smoke. I told you it was a knockout coming. Told you. And what did she bring? First round, 1 minute, 55 seconds. What everybody didn't know is she had Dewey Cooper in her corner. I knew that. I didn't tell nobody, but I knew that. I knew who she was training with. Yo, Christine is dope. And Beck is going to sleep. She needs a training team. She better go find somebody. Go make a friend. Because who's better than Dewey? That's funny.
So I'm actually trying to look up this video so I can play it for everybody. Here she is.
The one Christine calling out.
Yeah, I'm trying. I got it right here. Here we go. No, I clicked on Ferrari. No.
Yeah, it made me sick not being able to say her name, but it is what it is.
For real.
You know, I have no voice. Can you tell your fans I don't normally sound like a frog?
Oh, they know. They know. And usually when you call in, I get a whole bunch of downloads on Podbean for some reason. I think it's because my Podbean's linked to my Twitter, and you got a lot of Twitter followers. So I think they all hop over here. Here, I'm going to play the highlight for everybody.
I sound like a frog.
Let me play the highlight. I see that you guys ran into Kendall Grove, too, which we'll get.
Oh, Kendall is dope.
We'll get into that 1 second. Here, I'm playing the highlight for everybody. So here she is. 39 seconds left in the first round. We're getting down to 30 seconds here.
There she goes.
She got good head movement. Tate's working the jab, the 1-2 jab. And then Misfit just holds on to her and just lets go in the last 20 seconds here. And then she just drops. If there's one thing I would like to see Bare Knuckle FC do is something like a UFC embedded where you get to see like some vlog style of that really helps build and promote the fights. I would love to put something like that together. I would like to see
Christine whoop that ass because I know Christine could whoop that ass.
You're fired up about this.
Bare Knuckle. Let's go.
So obviously,
just let him just sign the contract and let him go stand and toe the line in the cage. No problem. Christine whoops that ass.
One more thing.
I don't even have to scream for that fight. Christine whoops that ass. She puts Tanya to sleep. So Tanya can be jealous all she wants, but she puts Tanya to sleep.
I would love to see Tanya do bare knuckle. I would like to see that. We'll see.
And then we get my boy AJ.
Yeah, well, let's go with AJ. Well, was that the #1 fight on your book?
Be online with you tomorrow, maybe.
Okay.
AJ is dope. He's from Chicago, and he does the whole Ric Flair woo thing at the end of his fight. He beat UFC's what's his name? Beltran? What was his name?
Andre Beltran.
Beltran is his last name.
Yeah, what was that in the first event, right?
Yeah, he whooped him. I'm talking about whooped him. TKO. Doctor stopped it.
Joe Riggs was on this card. This was a pretty sick card.
Yeah, bare knuckle is not for the faint of heart.
Joe Riggs, matter of fact, I believe he started with bare knuckle. But matter of fact, I had Joe Riggs.
First round.
I had Joe Riggs on my show like a year and a half ago, and he shared the story about. There's a couple of good stories that he had, but he shared the story about when he shot himself in the leg or in the hand. He shot himself in the hand the day he got signed back into the UFC. Like, oh, that was very one of my favorite interviews right there was with Joe Riggs. I'd like to reconnect with him. Before we let you go, Mercy, before we let you go, one more thing I want to talk about. Chris CYBORG in this music video with my girl BHADBHABIE. You watch that? I'm down. That's my girl right there. What's your reaction to it? Because I've seen some mixed reviews.
You and me gonna fight about these music videos. Listen, I am tired of answering the questions about the music video, right? Like, Chris has new management. Let's start right there. Did you tell everybody she has new management?
I think it's a personally great idea. You're saying the opposite.
She has new management, first of all. So there's the first part of it.
Who is the management, by the way?
So stop blaming it on Ray because it has nothing to do with Ray. And Ray was never her manager in the first place.
Ray maybe has used her Twitter.
Ray is just her fiance. That's her boyfriend.
That's I love Ray. He's a good dude, too.
Something to do with some stuff. but he is not her manager. He was never her manager and not her manager now. Okay, so let's just get that clear.
Ray was following my old Instagram account, and then it got deleted by the UFC, so I got to reconnect with Ray. But he's a good dude.
My account got deleted too, so
yeah,
whatever. But
this
with
music
the video,
yeah.
I didn't at first. My gut reaction, because I was not online. I actually was like trying to sell my house, do some other things. But fans wrote me to say, "What in the world is going on with Chris?" And I was like, "Huh?"
Let me get the music video
that's
for you guys.
because I'm Champ's #1 fan, so I get those kinds of messages like all the time. Like, if there's an emergency, I'm getting the message. This they deemed an emergency, so I got online, I saw it, and my answer was, "This does not represent Chris." I'm not gonna back away from that.
Or the song itself?
Chris.
The song itself, or what the girl represents?
I also said, give me a minute to be able to spin this and let me figure out what the thought process was behind it. Then I came back and said, however, if Dr. Phil couldn't fix this girl, Chris might be able to fix this girl with MMA.
I like that idea.
Or with Muay Thai, or whatever combat sport she chooses to teach her. She might be able to give her some discipline by getting her.
There's some other stuff in the works here.
Involved in MMA, and that's when I said, so Chris is smart. Like, Chris is not dumb. Like, so that's why I said initially, no, this doesn't represent Chris. But then I had to think about it. I said, but give me a second, because Chris just doesn't do random things. The answer really is that maybe Chris is actually trying to help this girl.
Yeah.
I still don't know.
I would like to see that, though.
I probably won't talk to Chris till closer to my birthday, so I don't really know. But I just assume she's trying to help this girl.
Listen,
that's my answer.
Mercy, honestly,
but the song sucks.
It's almost. Yeah, oh, come on, I like this song. I'm not gonna lie, I like this song. I like a lot of this girl's music, actually. And obviously, I'm a big fan of Trippie Redd. Yeah, but let me say this.
And the Eminem song versus whatever.
Oh, Machine Gun Kelly, that's my boy. MGK, EST for life. EST 19XX.
So we're going to put those two together. We need to do a different segment on that, because we need a whole music segment so that like we can go toe to toe.
Oh, I'm down.
Just music.
I'm down all day. But let me say this.
But my answer to the whole thing, because I do keep getting asked about the CYBORG and this video.
Yeah.
No, I did not agree with her doing the video until I thought about it, and I had to think about who the person that I know Chris to be, and Chris helps kids. So
we just saw her sparring with her niece.
She made this video,
or her adopted,
because she helps kids. So
yeah.
I get it. Like, and folks can be mad at me, and they can tweet me, and they can send me all the ignorant crap that you're gonna send me, because it's good, and I'm gonna talk trash right back to you the same way I always do, because I'm Mercy.
Listen, let me say this, because I do keep my ear to the rap track as well. I'm a big fan of Adam 22, the podcast, and No Jumper. And, after the past couple of years, the Dr. Phil thing got her in the spotlight, the whole Cash Me Outside thing. But she's actually changed her life around for the good. She bought her mom a house. I follow her daily. But listen, I have to say this. It's 2020.
Doesn't represent anything that Chris would want her niece and adopted daughter to follow. Like, no, I'm not even going to fake the funk. Like, we can't fake the funk.
And I'm not saying it.
Chris
Let's look at the lyrics.
I'm going to tell you how
Let's look at the lyrics.
No, that does not represent our champ.
Lyrics.
What does represent our champ is Chris is trying to help her. Now, if Chris is trying to help her and they happen to help each other along the way, that makes way more sense to me.
The Juice? Is it called Juice, right? Juice?
Yeah, so I'm all about it. If Juice helps them, then I'm all about it. Let Juice too.
Here, let's look at the lyrics.
Give me the, I don't even know what the.
You ready for this?
Like, yeah, because it was so whack.
Here's the lyrics.
Give me the Juice.
All right.
That's
fuck it to a Bentley, bitch.
I did scream to Ray about it.
Rabs to fucking riches, bitch.
Ray, what in the world?
Fuck about my mentions, bitch. Fuck you and your picket fence.
If you are trying to like mess
Pull up
with
like I miss you,
Chris's
bitch.
name, I'm going to lose it, right?
Shoot it till it's empty, bitch. Hanging out the window with it. Who the fuck going to mention
You
this?
don't get to mess with Chris's name. Like, we've been working on that for longer than I've been able to go into the nightclub.
I have to say,
nah, you don't get to just like come along and come up with this.
I like that you're
dumb
thinking that
idea
way.
To like mess with her name. No,
I
don't care who you are. So
I
people
like what
want to say Ray's name, but it's not Ray. Like, just stop saying his name. It's not Ray. So get that out your mouth. It's not Ray.
I like
She's
it.
got new management.
Mercy.
And that's who you need to be talking to. And beyond that, Chris can speak for herself, but she already spoke. She said that she was trying to help the girl, and since she's trying to help the girl, then I could be on board with it. But when they should have put that out first, is all I'm saying. They should have said they was trying to help her first.
I like the way you're thinking because I didn't even think about that. There's a couple of things that you brought up on today's podcast. I was like, holy shit, she's actually looking deep into this because it's almost 2020, right? We're seeing people like Jake Paul versus KSI, the celebrity boxing and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something in the works where she's trying to get a fight on or train, or even just if it's just something simple like helping her with her aggression or something like that. I would see Chris connecting with him. Yeah. 100%.
I have no problem with that. I know what Chris has said to me over the years, and I have my own issues. So I get how she could be helping this girl.
On the other hand,
I would have preferred that they have put the emphasis on helping the girl versus the video. You see what I'm saying? Like,
on the other hand,
it should have been Chris is helping the Catch Me Outside girl. That's what the headline should have been saying.
On the other side of it, though, I do understand the promotion, the management side. You guys can yell at me because this is huge.
I don't, because they
to
know
the younger
better.
audiences
They
out
know
there.
better. The Chris is helping the Catch Me Outside girl.
The Catch Me Outside girl is probably going to promote her more than the UFC will. Let's face it.
Right.
Right.
But what I'm saying is to say she's helping her versus she's in a
She could have been on a better song. Like, I don't like the lyrics to that song. You're right.
One would have outweighed the other.
Yeah.
And I'm saying helping would have outweighed the she's in a video.
If the song was different, like if it was a song about like overcoming or like, you know, challenging yourself, and Chris was in the video, I think that would have been a much better idea than the song they chose.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. They didn't ask me. Because I would have said,
on to the next
this
song.
isn't the song.
Yeah.
We're going to do a different song.
It's
Use
as simple
the
as
same
that.
person.
I agree.
We're going to do a different song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
There's some shit that you just don't agree with.
100%.
But I don't work for Chris. I'm just a fan.
But at the end of the day, it is the song they chose.
I'm just a fan, just like you all.
Let's look at how many
just
views.
A fan.
Let's see how many views it got. I'm sure it's over a couple million views on YouTube.
What difference does that make?
I mean, it's just better promotion. It
does
promotes.
that translate to $1?
It does.
No,
for her.
it doesn't.
For BHADBHABIE, it does.
doesn't translate to $1.
Hold on.
Because if you're talking about little kids buying something, where are they getting money from? They need to go ask their parents, right? So it doesn't translate to $1. Like, nobody can question me on this. I went to
I doubt Chris is going to make any money.
25 business school. And I've got
It's almost at 3 million.
You know what I mean? I got the credentials. I know what I'm talking about. No, I never would have suggested Chris to do this.
Yeah.
Now, can I support her with it? Absolutely.
100%.
Because if your answer is you're helping this little girl, then great. Then we're just helping this little girl. But if you want to know the truth and like what the numbers are, come on, you're not gonna argue numbers with me on this and that. Come on. There's no way to argue numbers with me on this.
It's definitely gonna bring a lot of promotion for Chris CYBORG. People be like, who is that? And look deeper into it.
How's that gonna bring a lot of promotions? Promotions of what?
For people to know who Chris Cyborg is.
What are they gonna buy?
The people out there that don't even watch the UFC to know, just know who she is.
You got me sounding like I don't even support Chris. What are these people buying? $100 pay-per-view?
Even if they're not buying, just the fact that they know who she is a big help.
Yeah, but do you think they're gonna buy a $100 pay-per-view? A $40 shirt? Are they gonna buy that? What are these people?
They probably the more seeds you plant, the better. Yeah,
to people that don't
probably gonna get a better chance of people buying some stuff.
That is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I have been Chris's fan over a decade.
It's not a good look for her. I understand. It's definitely not a good look for her.
I know because I talk to them every day, all day. I support her. However, I'm not gonna lie. This does nothing for Chris. Nothing. This video does nothing for Chris. Not for Chris's target market.
I disagree.
Not for Chris's fan base. It does nothing to help Chris expand her fan base. Sure doesn't.
All these videos are saying it's an odd cameo.
No.
A lot of people are having some.
Nobody's gonna know who Chris is in that video. Nobody. Who's gonna know? Is her name in the video?
We're talking about it.
Is her name in the video?
I don't even know.
Is the Catch Me Outside girl saying her name? Absolutely not.
I'll tell you what, it caught my attention though.
Look.
Definitely caught my attention.
Not even saying Chris's name. So what good does it do Chris? I'm just saying. I love me some Chris, but if you were asking me as the marketing person, absolutely not.
Mercy, we just got
never done this.
We just got our Instagram clip right there.
Anyway, I'm Mercy, and I'm not going to babble on about this because I'm Chris's biggest fan and biggest supporter. So whatever it is she does, I'm gonna find a way to support it. But
they could have picked a better song. At the end of the day, they could have picked a better song, right?
Yeah. Whatever she does, I'm gonna support it. So,
all right. So
if that's the song, great. We supporting that song. Let's ride.
Mercy, when is your birthday? When is your birthday, and is it close to the fight with Chris?
November 21st, and so we call it my birthday season. So I'm going to support. So I went and saw Christine Saturday. Then I'm going to see Pam November 16th. Hopefully,
so you just followed me.
Clarissa Shields is fighting November 17th in Atlantic City, so I can go see her. And then hopefully I have another fight December 8th that I'm going to. And then Chris's fight, December 31st.
Damn. Mercy, did you send her my way? Because she literally just followed me this week.
Who?
Pam. She literally just started following me.
I've been talking about you.
We got to get her on the show. So we got Pam in the back. We got Misfit, who's probably going to be coming on tomorrow. And then AJ. Where did you leave off with him?
AJ's going to be on. Let me get to him. And AJ will be on. Misfit's going to be on. And Pam will be talking to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, your show is pretty cool. So...
Listen, I really think it's badass. Misfit was literally like, dude, all these people are hitting me up for interviews, this and that. And I was like, I'm not going on any other show besides Pure. We keep it real on here. We keep it real. All these other shows, they're so fake. No, I keep saying it. I am so tired of the cookie cutter.
I sound like a frog, you guys.
I'm so tired of the cookie cutter podcasts out there that are all the same. We need to add that spice.
And I'm Mercy, and I'm out, y'all.
All right, Mercy. We love you, Merce. Mercy, Team Cyborg, everybody. Might have made her a little upset for saying that. I disagree because I do think this is a huge promotion for Chris Cyborg. That's the one thing that we're going to disagree on there. But maybe they could have picked a better song. Let me know what you guys think about that. But in the other news that we got, Luke Rockhold out of UFC 230. Jacare Souza might be filling in. I'm not too big on seeing Jacare versus Weidman as much as I wanted to see Rockhold versus Weidman. But my prediction for that fight, obviously, I have to... Oh, you know what? I think we're about to go into our next show, actually, with James McSweeney. I'm free at 10 a.m. Mate, my time, if you are. Shit, I'm free now. I'm free now, James. I'm free now. So obviously episode 7 of Gloves Off. We're going to be going live over on the Gloves Off YouTube channel. But let me end this podcast off with one last thing. DC versus Lewis now has been announced. That's another part where I'm like, another fight where, Derek Lewis in his last fight, he was like, I don't want a championship fight, this and that. I'm not ready for that. Now he's going to be fighting DC. I do like that matchup. Honestly, I really don't like giving predictions, but I would like to see Derek Lewis win that fight. But if DC wins, I know there's going to be a lot of people out there being like, oh, he's the GOAT. And I think I can agree with that at this point. If he does, knocking out Stipe the way he did was such a cementing moment just for a lot of people out there to be like, holy shit, DC really is the real deal. He's never lost at heavyweight. He went down to light heavyweight only because Cain Velasquez was down there. Now that Cain is out, I love what DC's doing. And this is a guy that didn't enter the game until he was 30 years old. Absolutely crazy. But I did want to see him fight Brock. I wanted to see John Jones fight Brock Lesnar. Once they put that promo on, I was like, that's how it's done. When DC got beat by John grabbed the mic and was like, this is how it's done. Let's get the UFC back on track. That's what I was reporting. That's what a lot of people out there reporting. UFC finally has something for people to look forward to. And then that just kind of dissolved in thin air. Then it's a fucking taunting. It was such a tease. Then DC is going to fight Brock. You had our friend Rosendo Sanchez, a DC striking coach, go in there and kick Brock Lesnar. And then it fades away, just like that. DC versus Lewis, yes, I am excited. Am I as excited? I know there's a lot of people out there, even in the Pure Evil MMA channel, and they're like, Eddie, we're not into that. We don't want to see this WWE guy come in here and do this again. He's fucking everything up, and he's fighting for championship titles. I understand that. But as you guys can tell, I understand the promotional side of things. You have to be able to get people to buy the pay-per-views, to talk about it. Even the people at my bank, the Ice Cream Man, my little sister, all these people talking about, Floyd Mayweather versus McGregor, and Brock Lesnar coming over, the young kids. I was the young kid at one point. I was a big fan of the WWE, and I went over to watch Brock Lesnar when he came over. Everyone was all about that. He was even in the video game, what was it, UFC 2009, which I believe came out in 2008. It's huge promotion. The UFC needs that right now, which is really why I like the idea about Mercy really opened that up to be like, you gotta look a little bit deeper into things. You can tie things together. Like, why did Chris Cyborg do that? I think it was for the personal thing, but if she is in it to help Bad Baby out, and I keep up with all that stuff. I watch Adam22. I watch her Instagram page and stuff like that. But I would love to see, and I know a lot of people are gonna get mad, I would love to see Bad Baby fight somebody in another YouTube pay-per-view. I would love to see something like that. So, other news, guys, and I really need you to STFU about it, is Floyd Mayweather versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. I did put it on the table saying, all right, you guys want to talk about it? Let's get it out there. I'm down to watch Floyd try his luck out inside the octagon. Do I want to see him fight Khabib? No way. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. Make it fair for him. I did like the Mighty Mouse fight. That was the one thing that clicked with me. I was like, make that happen. And I don't think that is going to happen, especially now that he lost the title. How cool that would be a huge fight. Think about that. Floyd Mayweather versus Mighty Mouse. Over Khabib, come on. What are you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking? At the end of the day, all that matters is that you're talking about it. It raises awareness. It helps out the boxing community and the MMA community. I know there's going to be people that disagree with you. I'm talking about it. Also, guys, I want to do a reaction video. We're going to see more reaction videos here on the YouTube channel. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I want to be in New York Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do the New York vlogs that I got going on, because I'm going to be going to a dress-up wedding. And I'm going to be reviewing some of the MMA news all weekend long. So today we talked about Eddie Alvarez, DC Lewis, John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson. Two set. I did see some people out on Twitter being like, "Oh, I don't want to see that fight." What are you talking about? Go rewatch. If you have never seen John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson, go rewatch that fight. I personally think Alexander Gustafsson does win this time. He's looked better and better. John Anik re-signing with the UFC. Big wheel in the machine of the UFC. Rockhold out of UFC 230. Duffy versus Pearson. That's a huge fight, guys. Keep your eye on that. Also, big interviews coming up this weekend. Oh, we got Fight Night Boys checking in here. Peter Christensen, who's actually a MMA ref. He's trying to get on the show tomorrow. We have a lot of interviews to get done tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, guys, Ghost Stories coming down. We're going to be doing Ghost Stories on YouTube with the MMA scene. We had Bill Vigil share his Ghost Stories. Justin Sumner share his Ghost Story. And now we have Nick Portella from Portella MMA. He's going to be going live to talk about it as well with us here. Looking forward to that, guys. I got to get into the show with James McSweeney coming up next, which is Gloves Off, episode 7. So subscribe down below. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA. Wait, Uncle Solian. Big shout out to Mercy for calling in tonight. Behave yourselves.